It is Monday and I just got back from the grocery store. I only had to get a few things because you guys know I do the huge hauls in the beginning of the month and get most of our groceries. So I got some apples, potatoes, baby spinach. I got two different types of grapes, a cucumber for salads. I needed some ground cinnamon. I got bananas. I showed in my last food prep video that I had a ton of really ripe bananas for smoothies, so I'm all set there, but I got these so that they can ripen for baking later in the week. And then I got some eggs. So I'm going to put everything away and wash everything that needs to be washed. One of the ways that I keep my lettuce or spinach fresh for a long time is by placing a cloth napkin in there, or you can use paper towel. And this absorbs the moisture in there, and that will make it last at least a few days longer. So I just keep that in there. And normally I wouldn't open it right when I get home from the grocery store, but I'm actually going to be making a salad later tonight, and I wanted to show you that. I just keep my potatoes in a bin on the bottom of my pantry. I don't wash them until I'm going to use them because I don't think they would last quite as long. And I usually wait until I use the cucumber to wash it. Sometimes if I make hummus or something, I will wash it and then cut enough for a few days. But cucumber is definitely one of the things that doesn't last very long once you cut it. So if you just leave it in its wrapper until you're ready to use it, it will last a little bit longer. So I'm just going to wash my apples and grapes. I've shown this a couple of different times, so you probably don't want to watch me do it all over again. But this is basically how I set it up. I just put all of my fruit over here, and if my apples or anything has stickers, I just take those off. And then for my grapes, I just pour them in here and wash them and remove them from the vine, and that way more will fit in the containers that I use instead of, having this take up a lot of room. And I keep a towel over there. It's a clean towel for my apples, and then I just dry them off and put them in the fruit bowl. So I went ahead and washed our apples, and I took all the stickers and everything off our bananas, and then I washed all of our grapes and divided them. Normally I put them in containers like this, but I just cut all of our pineapples, which I showed in my last food prep video. I did that yesterday, so they're all still being used. And I just put our grapes in sandwich bags this time, so we'll have those for the next few days. I'm getting ready to make some granola bars, and you guys have seen me make these plenty of times, so I don't think I'm going to record myself making them. That can get pretty repetitive. I'm sure you don't want to watch that every single week. So I'm going to do coconut and cranberry this week, and I have the full recipe recorded, so I will put the link below. These are all set. I'm going to let them cool for a little bit before I pop them in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes to firm them up a little bit. These are all set for lunches. I usually just put them each in an individual sandwich bag and kind of fold it over and put them in their own container. They will not crumble if you just leave them in here. Now, if people are like grabbing around in there, they might crumble a little bit. If you have children who aren't going to school, or you don't need to pack a lunch for your husband or whatever, and you're going to eat them at home, you can just leave them in the pan and cut them, and then make sure you have an airtight lid. The Pyrex dish that I was using has an airtight lid, so sometimes I use that in the summer, but definitely keep them in an airtight container so they stay nice and fresh. I thought I would include making popcorn as part of my food prep, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. A lot of times after school I make popcorn for my boys, and sometimes I make extra so they can have it for their lunch the next day. So I am making some. It's so easy, and you save a lot of money just making popcorn on your own rather than buying it in bags. I know at Trader Joe's they have a whole bag of it for $1.99, and it is organic, and it's so easy to make. So I'm going to make a double batch here. So I have 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. You can use olive oil if you prefer. I think coconut oil is really good in popcorn. So I just let my coconut oil liquefy if it's in a solid state, and then once it liquefies, I just add a few popcorn kernels. And if you get your popcorn from Trader Joe's, the recipe for this, if you want to call it that, is right on the back, so I'm just following that. So you can just put those in, and then you'll just add your lid, and those couple of kernels are going to start to pop, and that's when you can pour in the rest of your popcorn. So my kernels started to pop, and I am going to pour the rest of my kernels in. If you're just doing one batch, it's 1 tablespoon of oil with a half of a cup of kernels. If you're doing a double batch like I am, it's 2 tablespoons of oil and then 1 cup of kernels. And you're just going to shake the pan over the heat until you no longer hear the kernels popping. And it takes a little while, but once they start popping, it's going to be quick and easy. So a whole pot full of popcorn, and I still have all of this left. This is a whole bag. I'm sorry, I already threw the bag away, but as you can see, I can make this multiple times, and it was only $1.99. So it's a great snack that's very inexpensive, and we just like to have sea salt on there, so just sprinkle that over top. It's Sunday, and I'm getting ready to make some banana snack cake and probably granola, and then I'll probably cut up some fruit and divide the snacks. Sorry, I'm a little tired. I was going to make muffins, but I'm kind of running out of time. We were looking at a house on the computer and we got a little carried away, so it's a little later than I normally start. But I have some really ripe bananas, so I thought I would use those. Sorry, my battery died and people were walking through and talking to me and everything. Real life happens, right? So I am going to make some granola now. garlic, salt and pepper potato chips from Trader Joe's that my guys love. And then I have the nacho cheese tortilla chips, also from Trader Joe's. And John loves these. They're kind of like Doritos, but they taste a lot better and they don't have any artificial ingredients in them. Has cooled and I cut my banana snack cake. I'm just going to leave it in this dish and put the lid on and keep it in the pantry. My guys have some granola bars and the chips and stuff that I put in the sandwich bags that we can pack for lunches, but they can have this after school. And then I have the granola here. I have the recipe for both of these on my channel, so I'll put the links for those videos below. But we have things in our pantry that they can add to the granola, but this is a basic granola recipe, so it's really good. So I'll put the link for that below. And then when I got the pineapples on Friday, I also got some oranges, so we have some of those. And then I am going to go to Meijer tomorrow and I will get some more produce. So that's it for my food prep for the week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will include any recipes that I made this week in the description box. Thanks for watching.